Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day to you too.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chanchal.
Thank you, Chanchal.
You're welcome. So, thank you for joining our session and accepting our invitation to be here today to share your journey and experience with the audience today and inspire other women, to be in this journey like you and reach the higher goals in life, and not give up. So I would like to, share with my experience how we started with Fang Path. Do you hear an echo or I'm hearing an echo? Is there an
Yeah,
echo?
there's a bit of an
Fine.
echo.
There's an echo. Hello. Now it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
much-
you're good.
Okay, 1 second. Let me see what's giving that echo. All right. So, Nikita and me, we both started FAANGPath together. So FAANGPath is basically, it started on this, like we were talking and we saw so many people, looking for jobs. And we saw continuously those same people open to hire, on their profile. And what's missing, that was what we were looking for. Like why, people, their profile is good, experience is good, but still they are, not on job. So we got together and we looked at few resumes in our, friend circle, and we found that there is something missing in the resume. That's not getting them those interview calls. So we started reviewing the resumes and giving feedback and improvising on the resumes. And then we saw that, wow, they started getting calls from all these fine companies and they were so happy and excited and they started getting jobs. So we said, okay, why not, take this further? Because first we were doing it for free. And then we thought that, sometimes we didn't get responses from the people. And so we felt that, to give something free does not bring value to it. So we started, with a service as a service. So we started charging some fee for it to review the resumes and give feedback and help the candidates, the job seekers to improvise on their resume. And we found that so many of them are now getting, interview calls because the resume is passing the automated screening process. And, so we are so happy to be part of their success, and that's not all. Then we also, thought of doing the LinkedIn makeover, which is just an add-on to your resume, and gives more boost to your profile. Because nowadays, like most of the recruiters, they go on LinkedIn after they have your resume in hand and check your profile, and your profile is something also that sells for you. So we do LinkedIn makeovers too. There is a lot of we have amazing team of mentors from all these bank companies who mentor and review your resumes, do mock interviews. So all these services, we brought this to the people. And yeah, and we are like very active on various platforms, sharing our ideas, tips, how to improve your resume, how to give interviews, what are the tips that you should take care during your interview. So we give all those on, as part of our contribution, I would say, to the people. So if you have seen, we are active on Clubhouse, and if you have entered one of Nikita's room, you'll see, like, the tips she shares over there. Yeah, so that's about FAANGPath. And about myself, I am an HR and talent acquisition specialist. Currently, I'm working at Panasonic Avionics. And I started my career, as a teacher, and eventually moved into recruiting. And then I did my MBA in human resource management and moved into the HR field. So that's what my journey has been. And I would say that, to women, that it's never too late to start anything in life. Because I started my career after my marriage. I was a teacher before marriage. After I got married, I continued my studies. I did my further studies. And way after, like, being a recruiter, at some point of time, I did my MBA. So it was like not in early age of my life, in later stage of my life. And so I would say that if I can do it, you can also do it. So it's whenever you think you want to, you have that idea in your mind or your passion, and you were not able to do it early stage in your life, it's never too late. Just start wherever you are and you'll achieve it. you have to have that will and motivation and inspiration. So once you have that passion that I want to do this, you will do it. So with that, I would like to, like to hear from Somebi and Gunjan.
Yeah.
So let's start with Somebi.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Somebi. I'm a final year student here in Canada. I'm studying my double degree in chemical engineering and biotechnology. I've been able to garner almost 2 years of experience in my entire about 4 years of my entire professional degree, and 2 of those being in tech, working for companies like the Government of Canada as well as Deloitte. And what I found over the past years that I have a real passion for being a career mentor for young students, because I don't think that school prepares us the way it should for life after university and landing that first job. And so I really do think that I really do think it's important for us, I guess, quote unquote, older people to lend our expertise to students so they're able to have the tools that they need to succeed and excel the way they should. Because quite frankly, I think Gen Z just have so many tools at their hands, and it's unfortunate that they're still hitting a roadblock. And I think it's just because they're just not equipped the way they should be. And yeah, so that's me.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. Thank you for sharing that. And Gunjan, I would like to hear from you. Please share your.
Right. Oh, thank you so
1
much.
minute, Gunjan. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Let me just. Somebody has 2 devices on. No? Okay, because it's still echoing. I don't know why. All right. So let's begin. Yes, Gunjan, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all. So I am an engineer who actually made a conscious decision to shift to HR. So generally, people don't do that, and this is something I also heard when I chose to go to HR, that maybe this is because women are supposed to be in HR. This is kind of a stereotype that women would be good in HR. So and not maybe what here we are trying to talk about women in tech, and a lot of women these days are there. So my decision to choose HR was basically based on uh, my experience when I was doing my engineering, and I was doing a lot of other extracurricular activities there. I found a certain sense of satisfaction in doing people related things and make helping people live up to their potential, do better. So that's the career I chose for myself. I did my MBA in HR, and then I am working at one of the oldest and biggest companies in India as an HR manager. This I took up as because being with Nikita as a friend, and then finding out that this is something she has started, and I really felt that it had a lot of impact that it could bring for people. And as an HR manager on LinkedIn, I used to get lots of messages from people that, I'm looking for this job and this is something, could you help me with this? But they never really had the right idea how to approach, talk about their candidature, or how to put up that, elevator pitch for themselves. Their resumes were not right. So I really thought that this is a space uh, that required a lot of work to be done. And this, as a mentor in this particular startup, I could help. I could help in this space. Oh, sorry, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So I said great, and it's nice to hear about your shift from engineering to HR, and that will, I think, our women listening out there will definitely, not feel afraid to switch fields. It's a vast
Yeah.
difference between engineering and then moving to HR. A huge difference, right? So how did you did you feel that your engineering studies helped you in HR in some way? Do you feel that?
Yeah, actually, so when you go to college to be an engineer, it's just not the technical stuff that you learn. You actually develop this analytical ability, this logical thinking, reasoning, which will be helpful to you in any stage of your life or any kind of career you take up. And you build a network of people. You build relationships. That you learn to build relationships. That so all of that counts as something that will help you later in life as well. And as an engineer, when I'm working for an HR manager for people who are in engineering or who are in tech space, I'm able to understand their problems better. I'm able to empathize with them. So definitely it has helped me.
Sure. Thank you. Of course, it helps, when you see those resumes and they are technical. So since you're from engineering background, you definitely understand what they are talking about, right?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
good. Yeah. So maybe, I looked at your profile and was really very, what you say, happy and excited and enthused also to see like, wow, she's studying like two majors and diverse field like chemical and biotech and engineering and you're doing computer technology. So what made you like, spread into these different fields?
Uh,
You're on
some
mute, maybe.
Sorry. But I really do credit my wide base and the different kind of degrees, I guess, that I'm doing for being able to kind of pivot in different internships because you kind of have a little bit of everything. But when I first went to school, I was studying chemical engineering and biotechnology, and I thought I wanted to be a doctor, so I was supposed to like write an MCAT and then go to med school. In third year, when I eventually decided it wasn't for me, I stayed in the program because I wasn't entirely sure where else I wanted to pivot into. But I knew that I wanted it to be technology, and my chemical engineering degree did kind of help me prep for technology, and it allowed it so that even though it was difficult as it was, I was able to kind of make the pivot and land an internship as a software developer. But then it was after that internship that I decided to add on the computing technology specialization. And also after my internship at Deloitte, I decided to add on my minor in business because I just felt like it was a good way for me to get a world view. And all these things, adding on the specialization and adding on the business minor were great because they didn't extend how long I was going to be staying in school, but it did allow me to have like improve my coding knowledge, understand the theory behind coding, and the business part really helped me understand kind of the businessy side of things, get a world view on why companies do certain things and what would make them take certain directions. So yeah, I definitely feel like it's quite strange. When I went to school, I just turned 17, and looking back now, it was quite weird that as students that we were able to kind of just decide our entire lives at such a young age. So if there was a way for students to try different things, try different courses, I would highly encourage that.
Wow. Congratulations on, your studies, and your parents must be really proud of you, starting at young age and studying all different fields. And I'm looking at your profile and I see that, you have diversity roles like implementation consultant, software engineer, AI content writer, and even pharmacy assistant. So what motivated you to try out so many different roles, and how do you think so many different roles have helped you so far? And
Yeah,
some of it you already mentioned, but I would like to specifically relate it to these roles that you have done.
yeah, of course. The pharmacy assistant one, the student research assistant always like stumps people when they look at my resume because it doesn't make much sense. But yeah, like I said previously, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. So the pharmacy assistant one, um, and a lot of my internships I got via networking or just walking around handing out my resume, and that's what happened with the pharmacy assistant one. And it taught me that I love dealing with people, but I didn't really like the pharmacy aspect of things. And that was my last sciencey medical internship I got before I made the pivot into tech, and I got the internship as a software developer, which I got by driving around handing out my resume. So it was you learn so much about being meticulous and having like a high sense of integrity and serving the people who need it the most from these science internships. So when I was a research assistant, I learned a lot about, even though it was cancer research and it was learning about like stem cell regeneration, it was also about like knowing who it was that you were doing this for, and you're doing this for the cancer patients, and of course you're also doing this for their family. And the pharmacy assistant one, you're doing it because each time like a senior citizen walks in, you want to make sure they have like the best experience in that pharmacy. And what I realized is that each time I was getting a huge sense of satisfaction from the people, less so the actual tasks I was performing. And then I kind of went the complete opposite direction with a software developer role, because that one was 100% tech and really no people interaction. There wasn't really that sense of who I'm doing it for. And so I kind of realized that I wanted to meet in the middle. And so that's why you see my internship at Deloitte, which was that data engineering, but then it was also working with like people, because that Deloitte, the consulting arm, is first of all consulting and second of all engineering. And also my most recent one is an implementation consultant, again, like working with people, because I realized that was a really nice intersection between the customer success aspect and making sure that the customers are happy, and also being able to work with technology.
Right. So was it like, I would like you to share with the women out there, is it difficult to like switch roles? Like, was it easy for you to get into all these different roles one after the other, or did you face any challenges?
Oh yeah, they were definitely it's quite challenging. Everything I got, I kind of just got by throwing my hat in the ring. So that would be the first thing that I would tell women everywhere, is that just throw your hat in the ring. Like, the worst that can happen is that they say no, which, when you think about the fact that people go to war, it's really not the worst thing that can happen. And so that would be like kind of my first tidbit. But then like the student research assistant one, I got it by sending about 300 emails to people that worked at the hospital nearby my school, and I only got one response, and that was the one yes, and that's really all that matters, is that one yes. The pharmacy assistant one, it was spring here, and it was cold, and it was raining, and I walked around handing out my resume, calling pharmacists until one of them said yes, again with a one yes. The software developer one, I drove around handing out my resume to corporate-looking buildings in the GTA in Toronto, and again, you got the one yes, even though it doesn't matter that there are a bunch of no's or a bunch of, yeah, we'll reach out to you if we find anything. It just matters that you get that one yes. And what's so interesting is that once I got that software developer role, everything else became kind of a bit easier. Still a bit of a challenge, like my role at the Government of Canada, I actually had to join a hackathon because I wanted to narrow down the field, like kind of the pool that I'll be competing with. So I was told that, oh, if you do our hackathon, it was the first hackathon that the Government of Canada was doing, then we can put you into like a smaller pool of candidates, and then you can get an internship at the Government of Canada, which I was like, okay, that's what I want. So let me just do this hackathon.
Wow.
It was a 2-day hackathon, and it was 2 days, 2 nights. It was also my first hackathon. So I didn't realize that it was going to be so intense, but I eventually got the internship. But at my interview, when I was speaking about my software developer role, and so that one yes kind of allowed it so that I had something technology related to speak about in my next internship role. And even my internship at Deloitte, I went to 4 networking events, and that's how I was able to kind of hand my resume to the person that would be interviewing me. So again, with the networking, and of course, networking is a lot different now, but even my internship at Validere, I got from networking on LinkedIn. And so I'm a huge advocate for making sure that you are expanding your network. And I know people say use your network, which is 100% true. But if you're an immigrant like myself, your network in the country that you're at, I moved to Canada when I was 7, isn't so large. And so for me, it wasn't about using my network, it was about expanding my network, which I spent the summer of 2020 during lockdown doing. I was fortunate enough to get numerous offers before the end of the year. Which, if you're a student, it's great to get those offers before your last semester of school, because now that it's my last semester in 2021, I'm not really worried about where I'm going afterwards because I have all those offers. And so, yeah, like the biggest thing, and I hope the biggest thing people take from my story is that it doesn't hurt to throw your hat in the ring. It doesn't hurt to just see where to take you, because like the worst that can happen again is just them saying no or them saying not right now.
Great. That's really amazing advice to people out there. And women, please listen what she said. Put your hat in the ring. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to listen to those no's. Keep listening to those no's until you get that one yes.
Yeah.
And that will, create your pathway. So keep trying and don't give up. No, I shouldn't say trying, put your efforts in there, and just reach out to people, reach out to your network. And leveraging the network is the key in today's world. So just reach out, go to LinkedIn, reach out to the people and see, whichever company you're targeting, look at their company profile, reach out the right people over there and get connected to them. Don't directly throw out your resume over there to them. First, get connected, get related. So thank you so much, so maybe for sharing that. I'll come back to you in a short time. Let's go to Gunjan. So Gunjan, I would like you to share, how was your experience like getting this HR job? Like, was it a challenge for you, or you just, got it on your plate? How was it?
Oh, actually, so in India, this campus placement is a thing, and that really helps us get a job there. But I did not just get it through a recruitment process. I actually went through an internship, and I did really well on my internship, and then I was offered this job as a full time job. But apart from that, I would also say when you are looking for a job, this was a campus placement. But even after this, I have gone through the process of finding a job later on your own through LinkedIn profile, leveraging your network, be it your network from your university, your college. You should use all of those, ways that you can find to reach out to people and have your profile ready and in a way that really really tells people what you have done, how you have accomplished, have you done things that where you are, how you have reached there, everything that is there. You should be able to present it in a form that makes it clear for the person on the other end to understand why you are looking for this particular job or why you should be the right person for this job. So yeah, I mean, even after campus placement or having a good job right now, if uh, if time comes or if something or the other happens, you should be able to you should be prepared for that particular thing. That I how will I reach out to people? What will the networks be that I will leverage? And what can I do to get a job in future?
Good. So I'm just curious to know, like you said, campus placement, right? So you started with the HR position itself.
Yes, yes. So I did
So
an internship. As I said, this was in HR field itself, and
okay,
then I joined as an HR manager and went through different HR sub functions, starting from talent management to recruitment to organizational effectiveness, performance management. So, I've experienced all parts of it and really understood what pain points people go through, even entering the organization, being in the organization, and why they leave, what they
yeah,
issues can be. Yeah.
great, awesome, thank you. So Brenda, do you want to put any questions?
Yeah, I was just waiting for her to finish. So, since all three of you are from different fields and different journeys, so what is one thing that you feel you would wish that you had known when you started off in your journey that now you think is the best tool, or the trick that kind of does the whole trick to reach where you are right now? Um, you can start, Chanchal, and then everybody can start talking about their trick.
So for me, I would say the trick I feel is have a good resume, that speaks for itself. That is the utmost important tool, because that is the tool that goes out in the world and they see that, and then you get that call. And networking, that is really very important today. So leverage your network and have that great resume that will sell for you. That's what I feel is the tips for today, in today's world. And of course, networking is the key.
And what about you, Somabi? What do you think?
Yeah, I want to echo that networking, especially using LinkedIn. I've had LinkedIn probably since I was in first year, but never really leveraged it the way I probably could have. And also making sure that your resume is something that someone would want to read. I think a lot of young people tend to have a very it's just a very dense resume, and taking out those things that aren't needed, not paragraph form, have it in like point form, and so making sure that like it's actually something that a recruiter can look at and be able to find those keywords quickly, rather than making it so that they kind of have to like search for the important stuff.
Definitely, definitely. And Gunjan, what do you think is that one little thing?
I completely agree with what Chanchal and Somebi said about networking and having the right profile, the resume. But even after you have landed that interview, you have reached out and finally got that interview call. So what you do then, that is also pretty important. So owning your own accomplishments, your achievements, having your opinions, your informed opinions, and speaking up, being fearless, that is really important, especially for women, because a lot of times we can have a lot of insecurities that have creeped up because of some reason or the other, because of society or something else. But that is something we as women should be doing.
Yes, and I would like to say, like, as so maybe also said that, resume, remove all the irrelevant stuff that's not related to the job, you know. So project is very important and will create an impact. So just you write all that, like what you have done, how you did it, and what was the result. What impact it made on the job. That will what will add value, and you will see the calls coming to you. So just don't write like stories on your resume. Be to the point. That's what I would like to say.
Right. These are, I think, the most important factors in today's world. Networking and resumes is just two things that are kind of what go out there for you and speak for you when people are not really talking to you or looking at you. So resumes obviously definitely are very important, and like Somabi said, your LinkedIn has to speak for you as well. So, and one more thing, since this is Women's Day special, what is that one thing that you all feel is different in terms of being a woman in tech or in HR versus if you were, working as a male in the team, and how good, because, I feel that a lot of people keep talking about the challenges that we face, but we never talk about how encouraging the society has been in the recent times for women and kind of helping them grow. So, what do you think is your take on this?
Yeah, I can take this one. Yeah, I never really felt the pressure that I think a lot of women maybe felt, or the negative side effects. My first tech internship, I was the only girl on the team, and I was also the first full-time female that they'd ever hired. And it was nothing but encouragement from the men on the team, and that was a really, really amazing experience. And at Deloitte does an amazing job of making sure that that the team is diverse, which are my team. Omnia AI was quite a small team because the AI team is quite new, and making sure that was diverse and that I never really felt out of place or anything like that. And I think I would like to say that it's important to make sure that the company you join has like a huge amount of integrity, and aligns with your morals. When I was giving a talk last summer, kind of talking about like diversity, inclusion, and morality, I got a lot of questions about, oh well, how can we make sure that this company actually aligns with some of the things that we believe in? And I said, well, how do they treat their employees? How do they treat their women? How do they treat their minorities? How do they treat people that ask for help? And it's looking around and like looking at these things that you can kind of tell where a company holds like its ethics and how they choose to carry that out. And so I do really, and also the government of Canada, of course, does an amazing job of ensuring that you're supported in everything that you do, and that it was an incredibly diverse team, even though the team I worked on was very tech heavy, and very male dominated. Again, making sure that they always try to make sure that you never feel out of place and you're always encouraged to ask questions. And so I think I've been very, very fortunate in that all the organizations I've worked for have encouraged women and encouraged minorities and everyone really to just know that they have a seat at the table. But I would say that if you do ever find your place in a situation where you don't feel like you have a seat at the table, which did happen to me in a few clubs at my university, is that you should pull up a seat and sit there anyways. I always tell people that maybe get a bit comfortable with making people uncomfortable, because that's life. And at the end of the day, you're not really in charge of everyone's feelings. So if you make someone uncomfortable that you're in the room, that you have a voice and you're not afraid to use it, then I would say get used to it, and that would make them get used to it. And you just pull up a seat at the table, and that's why my TED talk that I did yesterday was called "Building the Table," because I think we talk a lot about having a seat at the table, but you know what? I think we need to start building the table. And it's like, if you don't want me to have a seat at the table, then I'm going to get my tools and I'm going to make it happen for myself. And so I hope women realize that while we're moving towards a time when society is a lot more encouraging, bringing your own seat, building your own table, there's absolutely no shame in that.
That's
Thank you
definitely
for sharing
more.
that, so maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was, thank you. Sorry to interrupt. I really liked what you shared about building. I was about to ask you, about your TED talk, if you could share more about that building the table and how students can create their own path. It's really interesting topic, and if you could share a little bit more about that, that would be really great.
Yeah, I can't take credit for the title. That was my older sister, but yes, that when I actually like did my talk for her, she realized a lot of it was about creating your own path. And even when things are tough, like I said, I was really uh, my older sister really helped me a lot in terms of finding jobs, but I was also kind of the first one of my siblings to go down that tech path, and so I didn't really have the supports that my younger siblings now have, having two older sisters that have been through the workforce. And so a lot of it, like kind of like how I just told my story about walking around, handing out my resume, driving, trying to figure out who can give me a chance. They didn't have to do that, and I had to do that. And I didn't see anything out of place for that until it came time for them to find jobs. And I realized, oh wow, because of all the knowledge I've garnered over the past few years of school, it's a lot easier for them to kind of find their own way and know kind of how to network and who to network with, because I've already been through it. And so kind of like that I did create my own path, and I kind of had to forge that path being an immigrant in Canada, and not really understanding the system, as well as maybe people that did grow up here and have a lot of family here. And so the building the table comes from the fact that a lot of times minorities and women sometimes feel like we have to ask for a seat at the table, or someone has to offer us a seat at the table. And I don't think that's true at all. I think you should be building your own table. And I think with all the resources we have nowadays, that's completely 100% possible. And I've been really blown away this past year really about how Gen Z and young students have, in the face of adversity, in the face of COVID and the lockdown, and our educational and career paths kind of being disrupted. A lot of people creating startups and creating support groups. And that goes to show that students can create their own path. It's just about having those resources to do it.
Thank you for sharing that. I would like to tell the audience, please go out and listen to this TED talk and look for this topic, building the table, how students can create their own path.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Over to you, Brenda.
Well, no, you could go ahead, or maybe Gunjan could talk about what do you think was, how more integrated women have become in the society and in the tech fields and HR fields, and how difficult or easy it has become for women.
Sure. So, as talking about my own journey, I think that it has happened a lot of times that I was the only woman in the room, or I was one of the few women in that particular group, or in my course, or something else. But I have not really felt a lot of discrimination or anything like that that demotivated me to not do it. Sometimes it felt that I was being singled out in a way that, because I am the only one, so I have to bring a different perspective, or somehow I have to bring something different to the table, which sometimes you are able to do that because of your own thought process, but not just by the virtue because I am a woman that I will have some different or some kind of different ideas. So that is something I felt, but otherwise, it has been all a great experience. As an HR manager myself, this has been my role, or this has been my idea of creating a culture in my organizations where women, can have that, they can be ambitious, they can have that idea that they want to be in leadership roles later. I want to create such processes and policies that at any point of their life stage or career stage, do not feel at any disadvantage, and we enable them to actually grow in the organization. All organizations are doing that these days. Diversity is a big thing for everyone, and inclusion, there everyone is working on that. So I think it has become much more integrated than before, and it has become much easier for women than it was before.
Right. And Chanchal, what do you think? Since you have much longer time from different fields as well, from being a teacher, which usually is seen as a more female-oriented job, versus moving into tech, which is difficult, sounded difficult to women, but now since people are moving into this diversity role of women being really a big part of even leaderships of huge companies, what do you think is the difference in the shift there?
So, what I would say in my journey, I did not find any discrimination as such. In fact, I found more people inspiring and uplifting us, as a woman. So starting from my home, my husband has always supported me, and he's the backbone, like, who pushed me to do all these things, study further and take this career path into HR, recruitment and everything. So I've always felt that men, as society is evolving, they're accepting women in the workforce, and they are not like ashamed to have women sitting beside them in a meeting. They are accepting them now, and you see more and more women now in every field, and especially in HR. If you see, it's like now become like more female dominated kind of industry, where I see like women everywhere. So whatever roles I have taken, like even in tech when I did IT recruiting, I had a great boss, who trained me completely in how to do the IT recruiting. And I mean, he was a great support, so there was no discrimination. In fact, they were always like uplifting me, like, okay, do this, do that. And we had the full freedom to work there. So it was at ease, like, there's didn't feel that I'm in some strange environment sitting there with men. So, and what I'm seeing now also, like I worked at Amazon too, and there also I felt that there was no discrimination at all. Like, we all felt like one homogeneous group. So, so if women out there are still afraid, to take on some burden in their life, and which they have always been dreaming of, afraid of being in the men world, it's no more a men world. It is everybody together now. Women and men are at same pace now and at same level.
That's amazing to hear how the society has grown together, and it has become more integrated and easy for women to kind of bring the ambition that they really wanted to and live that ambition. And so, since all three of you have this wide path of careers, you all have different, so maybe studying various things, and you both have moved from technology and teaching into HR. So, what are the things that you feel are more easier or difficult that is becoming for job seekers today to look into different fields, or changing fields, or understanding what are the different things that they could do and find an ambition for them there? Maybe Kunjan, you could start off.
For job seekers, I think first of all, to actually reach the right person, that is first most important thing. And in this world of ATS and LinkedIn, you post a job, and in few days you get 1,000 entries. How do, as a recruiter, you go through all of them? How do, as a recruiter, you find that right person? People will be looking at, they won't be looking at job descriptions, they'll be applying to those jobs. They will just, because as a job seeker you are just really nervous, you just want a job, so you'll apply everywhere, do everything you can. But you have to really keep that relevance in mind as well, because in such a case that's not really going to help you or the recruiter. So that's something I think people should keep in mind for changing roles, for changing their field of working. It's very important to first think about what are the core skills that you will require in that new job that you are trying to move to, and how you can build those skills independently doing some projects. How you can build those through some courses, those skills through some courses, and how your earlier jobs, at least the softer aspects of it, how they can help in your the role that you are targeting. And that's what you should focus on, that's what you should focus on highlighting in your resume and your profile as well.
Thank you for, definite points. And these are some things that, all the job seekers listening to us right now should definitely look into. Anything else that you both want to add to this?
So I would like to ask Gunjan and so maybe, so maybe if you can start with this, like before we wrap up our session today, I would like you to leave our audience with a message for Women's Day. What would you like to leave the women out there with today?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue I see when it comes to job seekers is that people, and especially when it comes to women, is that people don't know what's out there because there's just so much out there. And women, I find a lot of times we think we have to meet like 150% of the credentials listed for us to even think about applying, and we second guess ourselves so much. And I was fortunate in that last summer because I didn't really have anything planned because my internship at Deloitte, my extension was rescinded due to COVID. I spent like 4 full months just networking to see what's out there. But not everyone has that kind of time to like just sit around and like network with people like I did. I would be networking with 2 to 5 people per day. But now what I tell people is network with 2 to 5 people per week just to see what's out there. Like the role I ended up accepting for my and the roles I ended up getting, because I actually only applied to and interviewed for 10 roles total, because by the time I was done networking, I became picky about where I wanted to go. And because I'd already put myself out there, recruiters were the ones coming back to me to say, oh, these roles are open. And so kind of find a way to like work around your schedule to see what's out there, network with maybe 2 to 3 people per week, see the different backgrounds, how people were able to maybe go from a biology background to a solutions architect role at AWS. Find the kind of the really interesting ones so you can know how you can best position yourselves to get those roles, and if those roles are even right for you. And for women, I would 100% say, like, if you meet at least 70% of the job requirements, then please go ahead and apply. And please don't wait days to apply. I see this happen so many times with my friends where it's like, oh, like it was posted only 3 days ago and now they've taken it down. And it's like, yeah, because like Gunjan said, like if it gets thousands of applications in just a few like days, then like there's really no need for them to keep it open. And a lot of companies actually have a cap, or if it reaches X amount of applications, then they're going to just like turn it off because it's already a lot. So on that first day, I would definitely like, always have a resume ready to go. Try to personalize it if you can, but if you can't, then please just go ahead and apply, because I see it too many times where women wait, you're second guessing, you're not entirely sure. They said they wanted this in their preferred qualifications. You really just need to, start, like, put that imposter syndrome at bay and apply anyways.
Thank you for that advice. And I hope women out there, you're listening and you take it on. And what I would like to add here is, some women who may have stayed home due to family, raising kids or something, and they are up now, want to come back, but they don't know how to fill that gap, I would say that I had a gap in my resume and still I could land a job at Amazon. So the gap doesn't matter how you cover that gap, like how you present yourself, because when you're at home also you're managing something, right? You're managing your family, then you're providing solutions to some issues in your family. So you are a solutions provider too, right? So it is how you narrate your story in the interview. That's what is important. So I would say that create that story that you have for your gap, build that gap, how you improved yourself, how you enhance your skills. Everything is a learning process. Like at home also, when you're cooking, you're learning certain skills and how fast you learn them, how you implement them. So make a story of all those things and create a nice story in the star format and then present it in the interview. And they don't care that we were not working, but it is how you are going to work in future, how you'll present yourself, how you'll be at the workplace, whether you'll be able to handle that stressful situation or not. So they will look at what you did in the past that you can bring to the table now. So that gap doesn't matter. How you present yourself in the interview, how you answer those questions matters. So even if you have a gap, don't be afraid to apply for the jobs and come back into the workforce. I would say if you are still waiting and sitting on that wall and trying to figure out whether you should jump or no, so just take that leap and apply for the jobs that you want to do, and just build your story, and you'll see that you will get that amazing job that you're looking for.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for all those specifics. I'll just take one special moment to mention that to all the job seekers listening out there, as FAANGPath, we have a giveaway going on for all the job seekers to help you link network on LinkedIn with one of our founders, Nikita. And just go ahead on our Instagram and you can find all the details there. So we want to help you out as much as we can. So just go find yourself in the giveaway and hopefully you'll win.
Gunjan, would you like to share anything with the women out there? Give them any tips?
Yeah, actually, just building on what you said earlier about narrating their story, and what Somebi also said about, also talked about, not waiting for that perfection, waiting for being 100 and 150%. Just, I would just say that if you want to do something, you think you are ready, just go do it. I mean, don't wait for that perfection to come. It's okay that you are afraid sometimes, and it's okay to feel that nervousness, but just I would just suggest that you go and just do it, basically. While narrating this story, yeah, I would say that you might feel nervousness because of some of your weaknesses, but you might also have some strengths. So embrace your weaknesses, but play to your strengths. There might be something that you might not even notice because it comes so easy to you, but you really have to think about that and bring that out when you are presenting yourself in an interview or on resume, wherever.
And one more thing I would like to add to this is, what I experienced during, giving various different interviews. So it's not that the first interview is something that you'll clear right away, because you're nervous at the first moment. So that's okay. But with that first interview, you will know what kind of questions are put forth, and you will have like a set of questions that you can prepare for the next interview. And from the next interview, again, you have another set of questions that you can prepare for the next interview. And that way, you get polished in answering the questions, and eventually you land that job, you get that job.
Yeah. So it becomes important to, introspect after each interview you go through, and maybe
Yes.
you didn't do that. So you should think about why that happened and what you could have done
Yeah.
better.
Yes. So you and self-analyze yourself, your answers, and then improvise on them and revise them, and just keep polishing them. Yeah. So I believe we are 47 minutes now into this session. I hope you had a great time with us, as we had. I enjoyed learning more from Somebi and Gunjan, about their journey and what they're out there to do. And I wish you both a lot of success in your career path and your life journey, and also to all the people out there, and especially women, wishing you a lot of success. And if you are still thinking, to do it or not to do it, I would say just take that leap and do it.
Thank you, Chanchal, for having us. Happy Women's Day to
Thank
all
you.
the women.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Happy Women's Day, everyone, again. Thank you so much.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Yeah.